Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andrew here today, and we're going to be taking a look at the Xbox Series S an entire year later. So, if you guys have been viewers of my channel for some time, you're probably wondering why I'm making another Series S video despite my original one only being a few months old. It's quite simple. I've had the console for longer, which means that, well, I've had more time to mess around with it. So, now that it's been a year since this console has come out, it's worth talking about anything that's changed or remained the same. With that being said, guys, let's get right into making this video.
To start off, we're going to be talking about the gameplay experience on here. As Microsoft explained already, this is not a 4K console, although we can output to 4K at 120Hz at the very maximum. The Series S was meant to be the cheaper alternative to the Series X, but to be honest though, there are certain times where I seriously wouldn't be able to tell that I was playing on the inferior console. Games run at the very smooth frame rates, up to 120 FPS as I just said, and they look great thanks to the next-gen technology despite the lower resolution, and you seriously wouldn't be able to get anything else at this price point that would match the performance. As of now, the console seems to be holding its own, but we are still early in the generation, so we aren't going to know what the full potential of the system is for a while. These last two topics of the gameplay experience are going to be in both my Series S and X reviews, so if you already saw this part in one of the other videos, you can skip this part and go into the next section. So, in terms of Series S and X only games, there doesn't seem to be much just yet. There have been some announced for the end of 2021, and even others announced going into 2022 and 2023. Some of these titles are still coming to Xbox One as well, but I don't think it's a bad thing since that these games are still coming, especially when a majority of people still haven't been able to get their hands on the new consoles due to scalpers and a lack of restocks in store. So the last thing to really cover here is, honestly, Game Pass Ultimate. As somebody who has been a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber for over a year, I really have to say that this is the best service that has ever come to video games. For just $15 a month, you get access to both the consoles and PC versions of Game Pass, a catalog of over 100 games, the ability to play every single one of Microsoft's exclusives on day one, Xbox Live Gold, and the xCloud streaming service where you can stream games from the cloud on mobile, PC, and even from your console. As a collector, I usually stay away from the digital games, but with Game Pass, it gives me the opportunity to play the games before I decide to get myself a physical copy, and thanks to the service, it has stopped me from buying a few games I thought I was going to enjoy. So, if you have an Xbox, especially the Series S and the X right now, this is seriously the service you should have alongside with it. Even if you don't have the Series X and S right now, there are still a ton of games that you can play on your Xbox One, and they play great. So with all that out of the way, guys, let's start talking about the next topic. So next up, we're going to be talking about backwards compatibility, and other than a few patches in games that weren't there previously, not much has changed since my last video. That's not a bad thing though, because games really do run very well across all the consoles that are available for backwards compatibility on the Series S. You get a much more consistent frame rate, and on top of that, some games are enhanced to push the game to new frame rate targets, such as GTA 4 going to 60 FPS, Battlefield going to 120, and so many other options. There are some negatives though, and obviously the biggest one is that there is no disk drive, which makes backwards compatibility a lot less of an exciting feature due to the fact that you'll have to rebuy games digitally that you've owned physically before and if you want to play them again. It's not a huge deal if you were somebody who mainly went digital anyway, but if you were someone like me with a huge catalog of the older Xbox consoles as well as the digital library, it definitely makes it an inconvenience. One other inconvenience is that if you were playing Xbox One games that got a 1X enhancement, you still only are able to play the Xbox One version of the game due to the lack of memory and potentially the GPU in the Series S as well. The only way around this is if the game gets a Series S optimized patch, which unfortunately doesn't always happen though. Overall, the experience of backwards compatibility is definitely great, but there could have been a few things to make this better. One of the biggest features of the next generation has been the inclusion of SSDs, and with that, we have the privilege of these just insane load times that we have never gotten in any other console minus these new ones, as well as an exclusive feature with the Series X and S, specifically Quick Resume. Just being able to switch between games in little to no time while being able to pick up where you left off is an absolute win, and it definitely is something that will benefit you if you are somebody that plays online games with friends in between sessions of single player games you are trying to complete. When talking about the other benefits of the SSD, going between menus is snappy and loading into a majority of games happens in seconds. Where we haven't seen any ways in which the SSD was implemented in any real-time gameplay yet on Xbox's side, I have a feeling that the future is bright and this is definitely going to be the way to go for gaming as time progresses. The one downside to us having an SSD in our consoles is the fact that they're just so damn expensive, which made them only able to put 1 terabyte into the Series X and 512 gigabytes into the Series S. Those are very small amounts of storage, so you're going to need to upgrade somewhere down the line. The only current way to upgrade your storage to where you can actually play the games off of the series consoles is the Seagate proprietary SSD that goes into the back of the console. Otherwise, if you're going to get any other external hard drive to store your games, you'll only be able to play the Xbox One and below games, while you have to only have the ability to store the series games, not play them. However, a Chinese company is making an adapter to allow for mini M.2 SSDs to work on the series consoles, and those are going to be going for $30, so we'll see how that goes when the time comes, but for now, we are stuck with the only upgrade option being the proprietary SSDs that go into the back of the console. One thing I forgot to mention is that even if you do get an external hard drive and you are really hell-bent on playing the games off of it, don't panic too much. It actually doesn't take a lot of time to transfer the games between the external hard drive and the console and the other way around. It took me only about 10 minutes to transfer Cold War from my external hard drive to my Series X. I currently don't have the proprietary storage. I'm using a 2 terabyte external hard drive, so I just wanted to leave that disclaimer for you guys. Anyway, guys, let's go into the final verdict of this video.
Alright guys, so we're at the final verdict of this video where I discuss whether this console is worth it or not, and well, it depends on the consumer that you are. If you're somebody who now plays all digital, doesn't care about the lower resolution, and is alright with the limited amount of storage, which is only 512 gigabytes with 364 gigs usable, then this console is definitely for you. I still think that 512 gigabytes is not nearly enough, and that they should have at least put a terabyte in here, considering that if you were to buy the expansion card, it would make this cost more than the Series X. But if you get something like an external hard drive, and although you can't play the Series S games off of there, you can still store them on there, and it doesn't take very long to transfer them from the hard drive to the console and the console to the hard drive, so I don't think it's necessarily the biggest deal that this thing has a low amount of storage, but this is honestly a great console because it has games that still look amazing, they play very smoothly, so that's why I think that this console really is not a bad option. This is a great console for a casual gamer and a kid, but even for the hardcore gamer that wants a next-gen experience just at a budget rather than spending $500 or up to over $1,000 on a PC. So I will say, if you are skeptical about upgrading, I would recommend you guys to stick with your base Xbox One or One S or One X at the moment, as games are still coming to that system and playing pretty well. I also believe that waiting it out might benefit you guys in some way, because typically, as console generations go on, you get some revisions down the line that really benefit. So for example, I think somewhere down the line this is going to get a terabyte. I don't think they're going to stay at the 512 gigabytes. They got too much backlash that way. I think at some point they're going to upgrade the storage on this thing. So like I said, if you're skeptical about buying, it's worth waiting for you guys. I'd say definitely wait, keep your older system. It is an amazing system, but it, in my opinion, doesn't need to be bought right away. The same can be said about the Series X. The same could be said about a PS5. You never know if they're going to make a Pro down the line for those systems. You never know if they're going to get better storage. You never know if the revisions are going to be that much better. You honestly don't know. Jumping into this with something brand new like this, you were pretty much paying a premium to basically get the system early and right away. So with that being said, though, if you're looking for the best Xbox experience, the Series X is obviously the best way to go if you're looking to go on console for, and as well if you have physical media. But if you're looking for the best Xbox experience, in my opinion, period, you're going to have to pay the premium and basically build a crazy PC, because PC will give you the best results in games. You'll get the best textures as long as you pay the price, the best frame rates, and pretty much all around a better experience than if you're playing on console. But like I said, it can tend to be very expensive going that way. So like I said, this is an amazing console, but if you're looking for top of the line, you're either going Series X or the PC route. Anyway, guys, that's my take on the Xbox Series S. I have to say that I've spent much more time on this console than I initially expected. This console probably has me the most interested out of all of them, because when new games come out, I am always interested to see how this budget console will handle them. And so far, I haven't been disappointed at all. Games still run great, they look great, and that's the most important things about a console. This is doing it at a perfectly budget price point. You simply cannot get a laptop or a PC that would be able to match this at the same price point. So I will continue playing this console as time goes on, and with that will come more content. So thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one.